Here's the truth. Most people operate on immediate gratification. And that is why they are broke. That is why they are overweight. That is why they don't have the relationship they want. They optimize for today's comfort at tomorrow's expense. And this is also why 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, regardless of income. Okay. I tell people this all the time. I'm like, listen, if you don't make a lot of money and you're broke, when you make a lot of money, you're still gonna be broke. I see it all the time. It is a habit. It is a way of being. It is immediate gratification. You will just find more expensive to spend your money on. I remember when I was younger and I lived this way. I lived paycheck to paycheck when I was making $30,000 a year and when I was making $85,000 a year. Now, why is that? Because I did not understand this philosophy yet. I was constantly taking the first marshmallow. More money, spend more, right? Think about it. A lot of people do this. Once I realized that I had I had tripled my income and I was still living that way, I was like, oh, you're just gonna keep finding shit to spend money on. That is when I decided to make a different choice with my life. I decided that every dollar that I had, it became capital, it became an asset. It was not something to use to consume things. What happened is that while everybody else, they were planning weekend trips, they were buying stuff they wanted, they were spending their money on their hair and their nails, their outfits and all this stuff, I was like, screw it, I don't care anymore. I'm buying stuff from Goodwill. I am going to the cheapest place to buy food. I am no longer getting my hair and makeup done. I am funding my future. I am now choosing to wait for the second marshmallow. So I treated short-term sacrifice as my long-term strategy. Before any purchase, ask yourself one question. Does spending my money on this build my self-respect or break it? Habit number 4, do the hard things first. I know that this sucks to hear, but your brain is wired to waste energy on all the wrong things. And it is wired to be lazy. We are wired to be lazy. Our bodies want to conserve energy. Our brains want to conserve energy. Your brain will always look for the easiest route because that is what you were wired for. There's nothing wrong with you, my friend. This is how we're all wired. The moment that I started leading with the hardest tasks each day, everything else felt manageable. And momentum was like a daily norm after that. It actually started when I was losing weight because I said, I will make myself work out at 5 a.m. every day. I was like, I hate getting up at 5 a.m. and I hate working out and I don't want to do this, but I was like, I will do the hardest thing first at the very beginning of my day. And if you look at high performers and people who have what you want in life, what they do is they tackle complexity when their mental resources are strongest. Even for myself, I know I am not making decisions past 4 or 5 p.m. My team knows. They will ask me a question. I'll be like, I will find a way to deflect the question. I'll be like, let me come back to you tomorrow. Let me think about that. Now, why is that? Because I can measure, I'm like, you're not that sharp right now. High performers, they're not gonna be sharper longer than somebody else. They just know when they're not and to delay the decision. Now, what average performers do is they delay difficulty and all the things that take hard work until later in the day, until it becomes a crisis, until they absolutely can't move forward without doing it. There's somebody that's probably before your time if you're watching this video, but his name is Brian Tracy, and he popularized this idea, and I remember it to this day, which is called eat the frog. The premise is this. If you had to eat a live frog every morning, maybe a toad because they're even more disgusting, the rest of the day would feel easy in comparison. Like if you woke up and you had to eat an actual frog every morning, like it's live, this thing's like flapping in your mouth, right? Everything else would be like, dude, it's a breeze. I ate a frog this morning. That frog represents your hardest, highest leverage task. Okay, the one that you would avoid, but that would move your life forward the most. Success belongs to people who are willing to swallow the hardest bite before anything else. So here's how you're going to take action on this habit, okay? Identify something you've been avoiding because it's really challenging. Maybe it's something you have to do tomorrow. Maybe it's something you have to do next week. Maybe it's something that's been lingering in the back of your head that you like wake up in the middle of the night thinking about. It's one of those things, right? Now, we're gonna plan to do it first thing tomorrow morning. We are going to execute it before you check your email, your Slack, your Instagram, your Facebook, your WhatsApp, your Signal. I don't know what you use, but before everything, you're just gonna do that. And you're gonna say, I am not allowed to do anything else until it's done. Do the hard thing first, reward yourself second. Habit number 5, choose skills over status symbols. This is the truth, is that only broke people spend money trying to look successful, okay? Money has essentially 2 functions. There's signaling and there's building. That's it. It's like either you're building stuff with your money, it is a tool that you use to build something else, or it's a signal. You're using it to show people that you actually have it. Here's the thing. Researchers have found that when people feel uncertain about where they stand socially, they become more likely to buy luxury items, clothes, watches, cars, all these things. But what you need to realize is this. Status purchases depreciate. So if you are trying to become wealthy, these things are not going to add to your wealth. They're not going to build upon each other. Whereas knowledge and talent and skills are appreciating assets. If you build on your character, if you build on your skill sets, like those things are going to get better with time. They're going to be bigger. You're going to have more of them. them. Real confidence, it does not come from the clothes you wear, from the jewelry you own, or from how you do your hair and makeup. It comes from how you feel about yourself inside. I promise that. I have both things. This doesn't matter if you don't have this. Manufactured discomfort, okay? The things that you resist doing are always the things that will unlock your biggest growth. Discomfort is actually just information. It tells you where you have room to grow. So it's like people say they want to get better, but then they don't want to be uncomfortable. It's like, well, then you don't want to get better, because in order to get better, you have to be uncomfortable. People who choose hard things end up handling life's unwanted hard things far better. So if you pursue hard things, you do a hard workout, you have a hard conversation, you do something that scares you, you are training your brain to reframe that stress as a good thing instead of a threat. So suddenly your brain says, oh, stress leads to growth, rather than stress leads to fail, die, be killed, right? Because our old, outdated system thinks stress equals bad, run away. Guys, if you go to a party and people don't talk to you, like, you're not gonna die. I know sometimes it feels like it inside, but like, you're not gonna die, you're gonna be fine. So the biggest way that you can move forward towards that discomfort is to audit your environment. Think about this. If everyone around you operates at your level or below, where do you think you're going? The people around you are a thermometer. You need to intentionally place yourself in rooms where you feel underprepared and uncomfortable, because that means that you're gonna grow. A lot of people avoid that. They're like, oh, that person, they've got an ego, they're too intense, what you told me right now is that you're actually just uncomfortable with that person because they have something that you don't yet have. They have a level of something that makes you uncomfortable. That's not a bad thing. And if you take anything from this, let it be that wealth is not built by luck. It is built by choosing habits that have nothing to do with wealth, that trade comfort for growth every single day. So if you like this video, do not forget to subscribe and check out my next one.